This has been a really... I liked how I was being like, yeah, we're going to get on track. We're going to get through the plot today. We've done shit. We've done nothing. Look at this guy. Wow, you Catalina Ransom will buy me the cafe specialty? I'm delighted. Tripoli. Oh my god, and the economy's terrible here. Jesus. You guys. I'll go to Genoa. My god. I really made a dog's dinner out of this, didn't I? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. I should have been suspicious when it said 24 days when I went previously. Yeah, we had nobody assigned to combat. You know, we could probably take a fleet now. We don't have to worry about... he's British, too. And I don't like the look on his face. And he's also not commanding super powerful ships or anything. Let's go for it. Ron Howard's voice comes on. Actually, nothing was fine. I like how he's got a blonde sprite, but he's clearly a brunette. Creepy, creepy brunette. Here's what we're gonna do. Oh yeah! See? Everything's fine. No. And here we go. Nice. Badass. Oh, and we get a brass candle holder that we could give to a waitress. So nows are pretty good ships. At least for trade. They're not ideal or anything like that. But these other ships, these Caravella Redondas, are terrible. They're not good. They're okay at the start of the game if you need just to have cargo space for your little loads of carpet and art that you're trading at the very start. But other than that, don't worry about them. Don't forget about it. Hey, you want to see my brass candle holder? They're a lot like a Caravella Latina. They have a square sail though, so they're less maneuverable. I think that they have essentially the same cargo load. I don't know. Anywho, we're not keeping them. We're going to be selling those. Sugar. Give me sugar. Lend me some sugar. I am your neighbor. Oh, wait. There we are. No. Again. There we go. Effing did it, guys. Yeah. that's the one with all the sugar on it. The men can just eat the sugar. That's fine. And that's not how you do math, but we're not going to worry about it. There we go. Aha! That wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. Particularly with this inept captain in command. Even so, it's too early to relax. We better watch out so we don't get fooled again. We don't get fooled again! They wouldn't have the nerve to do that to us. We're geniuses. They don't know who they're dealing with. They've got a point there. Have you loaded up all our spoils of victory? Don't worry, it's all taken care of. Oh, Commodore, there was a navigator hiding in the main hold of the enemy ship. Deal with him as you see fit. Jeez! His life is a matter of indifference to me. He says he knows something that may interest you. Then bring him here. Here's the lout. Oh, it's Hugo! You're the female pirate, Catalina. And what of it? I have some information you may find interesting. We can make a deal. No, thank you. I don't make deals. Andreas, take him away and dump him in the ocean with a sinker. Yes, ma'am. Wait, don't, please. Then speak up. If your information is useful, maybe I'll spare your life. I know where Joao is. He's at a port called Massawa in the Middle East, defending it from Turkish forces. Some people think he's foolish to try to confront the Turkish power all by himself, but I think he's brave, a real hero. That's all I know. Andreas, take him away. Dump him into the sea, untie him, and toss him gently overboard when land is in sight. He may survive if he's lucky. You're one lucky guy. This is the first time the Commodore ever let a prisoner go. We're learning some dark secrets about our protagonist here. Jesus. Emilio, direct the bow to the Middle East. Yes, ma'am. I didn't completely believe that aloud, but I think we should head for Massawa and check things out anyway. Save me! So, Massawa. Not real close. Not convenient. Gonna take a long time to get there. Trying to think of whether I should go to... Let's actually sit tight here. We don't need so many crew to make it there. We have almost enough, probably, even from the ships that we have. What is that? 16, 32, 48, 68, 80. Yeah, we have actually enough from these to fully crew our ship. So we could do that. The problem, though, is that we have to sail around Cape Verde, which is where all of the storms in the game are. Not really, but you will encounter storms going through there. We could buy balm. I believe that there is actually some for sale in Marseille, which is not far from here. The question is whether Marseille is a port that we can visit safely. So what do you say we check it out? Check it out! There may be another port nearby that sells balm, but I'm pretty sure that Marseille does. It's allied with Turkey, which is actually good news for us. Okay, let's go to the item shop. Damn it! I was wrong. Who sells balm? We could check at 2 a.m. I kind of... I don't know. We'll try it. Okay. So now, head in here. This is a fencing sword, yeah. But we don't need that, because we have one of the best swords in the game. Okay, so... why don't we just try it without balm? We do have a figurehead on this ship. I don't know if it's going to be enough to really avoid the storms. The problem with the storms is that we have to actually stop fully. And we don't really have a lot of room for food, so we run the risk of actually running low on food. Could be kind of dicey, but you know what? It's an interesting challenge, right? Well, it is a challenge. I'll just leave it at that. Whether it's interesting, hey, you know, not up to me to say. Alright, then we'll transfer cargo. Oh, wait, we have stuff to sell. So we'll just walk in and out of the lodge, sell sugar. Sugar is actually a decent trade good. It's not super valuable, but usually sells in like 25 per lot. $48. Never mind. Maybe that's when you actually go buy it. I'm not good at trade, apparently. Go to the shipyard. I don't usually make use of balm, though, because most of the time when you need it, you're doing an adventuring scenario, and when I'm doing an adventuring scenario, I'm usually sailing in a La Real, and La Reals are able to just sit on the coast indefinitely, just given how I rig them out and everything. Oh wait, let's transfer before I do that. Lovely. Okay, now we can sell. And we're gonna have over 100 ingots again. Were we over 100 before? I don't remember. Doesn't matter that much, but just out of curiosity. Those are practically worthless. Tall Panzer! Alright, now we can set a course for adventure. And save the game. Delightful. Okay. To Masawa. Well, I guess to that point, Masawa is really far away. There are two ways of actually getting there. We can either go around the top of Europe, or we can go around Africa, which would be the more sensible, historic way of doing it. And in fact, I think that's really the only way we can, because if we can only sail for 16 days in this ship, we will only be able to... we have to hit ports in enough, we have to have enough time to make it to from one port to the other, even including the time it takes to get through storms and everything. I think that's the only feasible way to do it is around Africa. If you go around the top, you have to depend on supply ports, which are uneven, they're pretty far apart, and I don't know that I'm necessarily going to get good wind If you're doing it in a La Real, it's fairly trivial. But in this ship, that might be a tougher proposition. We're going to try it. We're going to see what happens here. That might be an interesting challenge. It might just be a challenge that's uninteresting. We'll see. This guy turned around when I sailed past him. Let's see who this is. Oh, Columbo. He wants to come up and say, by the way, one more thing. There's Paul Abdul again, quirking his eyebrow at us. Straight up. Now, one thing we can also do to avoid storms, we'll have to also resupply, like, Madeira here. Yeah, Madeira's there. I'm gonna try something. In the previous Uncharted Waters game, storms were really, really dangerous because they lasted a really long time and they took control of your ship. Like, you could not maneuver through them. So what you can do in this game is you can just dock or go ashore and just wait out the storm. It's actually pretty easy to handle storms because of that. But storms only kind of spawn in this game in certain areas, which is also true of Uncharted Waters, the original game. What kind of window we got? That's not really ideal. Can keep tacking like this, but I think I'm in an area where they won't spawn. If I'm to the west of where you see where the screen transitioned there, I think I might be okay doing this. If I'm not, we're going to find out in a hurry. And we're getting good wind, too, at least, so. Who knows what this is going to be like coming back, though. And so we've more or less dodged the storms, even though this should be very dangerous to sail through here, especially at this time of year. This is towards the end of Atlantic hurricane season in November. The game doesn't really mimic that. It doesn't have seasonality to these kinds of things, but I'd like to think that there's maybe a little influence. I don't know. It just generates storms based on where you are, so. This is Pernambuco. We're going to stop here. You were here before. Which? Okay, that was not that bad, and now we can sail back towards the east and go around the Cape of Good Hope. I hope. Although the wind is not... that's not great. We're actually making pretty decent time. Where does that put us? Yeah, we should be well south of the danger zone here. It's once you get south of what would be like modern day Mauritania, and between there and kind of the Gulf of Guinea, that's where the storms are really bad in this game. Once you get south of the Gulf of Guinea, then you should be okay. And we are well south of there, so. Yeah, that's the Kalahari there. Might run into a discovery while we're at it. on food. We have to get to a port very soon. Uh-oh. Commodore, something's wrong here. As we looked up to the mast, there was a strange phosphorescent light around the sail and rigging. We survived. It's a miracle. That would be St. Elmo's fire. Wanna be the man in motion. Okay, we are almost out of food, but I happen to know that we're gonna be okay. Because there's a port. Thank God. That was a little bit dicey. I don't know if I recommend that technique. The other thing that we could have done, if we'd gone a little bit further north, we would have run into Luanda, which is a Portuguese port. So I think that maybe I'll do that next time. I'll sail, coming back, I'll supply here and then go up to Luanda and then sail west. This game it's kind of unfair if you know very much about geography in this time period, like, or if you've played the game before. I remember just being absolutely scared out of my mind sailing to these places when I was younger because I didn't know if I was going to run out of food, and I oftentimes did because I didn't know where the ports were. You can do that very easily sailing over the top of North America or Europe in this. Just end up starving to death because there are supply ports, but if you can't see them or you don't know in some cases exactly where they are, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But there's ports here. We don't need to worry about that. Well, it was pretty legit. I think it's pretty cool that's part of the... That's a good challenge as a from a gameplay standpoint. Like, you just don't know. Yeah, and that makes it more immersive. Alright, we're actually getting close to Massawa. Believe it or not. But I will resupply in one of these ports here. The island of Zanzibar is off to our right. Birthplace of Freddie Mercury. Oh, that would be awesome. Lethal. Lethal! I would love that. I don't know how that could... Oh, boy. Oh, boy. That would get super complicated because of the enemy fleets. The pathing, like, that's, like... One problem at a time, though. Like, you know, figure out how to make the map random. Kind of, maybe even think about making the goods random. Oh, man. That would be cool. I'll have to look into that and see if there's a... Yeah, I know. My pants feel tight all of a sudden. But, I should look into that and see if there's any community around that. I do imagine it would be a really big technical challenge. I kind of want to change this. Although we're about to probably have a fight, so let's not and say we didn't. We're actually relatively close to Massawa. Ooh, a village! And this is one that I don't think will get my men killed. We'll entertain. Be somewhat valuable. Once you, in other scenarios where you're Your captain is more charming, basically. Once you start entertaining to a certain level, you can tell that the discovery is actually going to be pretty valuable. With Catalina, that effect is dampened a little bit, but this is still going to be somewhat valuable. We haven't actually sold any of our discoveries yet, which is fine. Woo! We're doing it live. We discovered the mandrill. It's a monkey with a colorful face resembling that of a human. It has a beard, a purple bottom, and a short tail. Again, resembling a human. I'm going to keep sailing fairly close to the shore because, yeah, that's Quelimane. Or Mogadishu. Quelimane is further up, I think. Got a headwind, but we're actually making decent time despite that. He will put a spark in your step. Maybe we missed Quelimane. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going up here to the green shores of Yemen. Which is allied with Portugal. There you go. Don't really need to linger here. We could do some exploring, but that's not really our mission. You can kind of mimic that experience that we were talking about, Lethal, in the original Uncharted Waters game. Because... This is Masawa here. I'll just take a minute to explain, though. Because the map in Uncharted Waters 1, it doesn't look like the actual world. It tries to. It tries its best, but it's not the same. It does not have very much resemblance to the real Earth world that we reside on. Talked about that a couple of times already, but I just cannot stress enough how just inscrutable it is. Anyways.